So news came out a little earlier today from Jordan Reef of ESPN that the Packers have met with first-round tight end prospect Michael Mayer from Notre Dame, which now means the Packers have met with 3 total tight ends. Dalton Kincaid, these are all official visits. Dalton Kincaid, Michael Mayer, and Darnell Washington as well. And so, considering Jordan Love is entering his first year, it is, I think, a necessity to obviously add more weapons around Jordan Love. And the fact that the Packers have met with lots of these top tight end prospects could signal them drafting one of them, potentially. Last year, if we look at their 30 official visits, they drafted 6 of the guys who visited them. So there's a chance it happens. The Packers are clearly doing their homework on the tight end position when it comes to drafting them. And so, personally, I hope they draft one of these guys at some point. I'll give my opinion on who I'd prefer. But let me first get into a little bit of information on Michael Mayer. So, 6'4", 200, if I can find my notes, 6'4", 249 pounds. Now, let me read what Oliver Hodgkinson of Pro Football Network had to say regarding Michael Mayer. He said this: his size and physicality make the Fighting Irish tight end an impressive all-around prospect who is as capable of catching the ball as he is blocking in line. In fact, there are few prospects at the position who can compete with his prowess in this regard. So the fact that he can do both, receive in the passing game, block as well. Matt LaFleur loves great blockers. It's great for a running game, so that would be nice. And considering Marcedes Lewis likely not returning, we sort of need a tight end who can block pretty good. Now, here we go. Moving on from his ability as a blocker, Mayer uses his frame to be a force in the passing game. While not possessing elite length, the combination of his size and decent length allow him to consistently make catches above the rim. He also showcases good technique as a pass catcher, plucking the ball away from his frame with regularity while being an impressive ball tracker. So when we compare Mayer and Darnell Washington and Dalton Kincaid, all 3 players the Packers have met with, Mayer doesn't seem, from what I've read and investigated, he doesn't seem to have the, ceiling you could say when it comes to receiving. Darnell Washington, 6'6", so to be able to have a 6'6" player like that in the red zone for Love would be insane. Dalton Kincaid, on the other hand, also seems like a player who has a higher ceiling when it comes to receiving. But Michael Mayer has been very productive. He was very productive in his final season at Notre Dame, where he had 67 receptions, 809 receiving yards. Oh, I realized that I wrote a newsletter first for this, and I wrote that he had 809 touchdowns. So that is inaccurate. I will change that. He had 809 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns in his final season at Notre Dame. Then finishing off from Hodgkinson here, the major concern for NFL analysts over Mayer is his lack of elite athleticism. There are faster tight ends in the class who can get vertically far more quickly than the Fighting Irish phenom. Additionally, there are more laterally exceptional tight ends prospects who can break from routes with more sharpness and thus are more likely to create separation. So there are a few, I guess you could say, concerns when it comes to Michael Mayer. And as I already mentioned, the fact that Darnell Washington is 6'6", 264, and he ran a faster 40 than Michael Mayer, 4.64, versus Michael Mayer's 4.7. Personally, I would prefer Darnell Washington just because I think, from all I've seen, he seems to have a higher ceiling, and the fact that we could have a 6'6" tight end prospect or a 6'6" tight end in this offense in the red zone for Jordan Love just makes me, that excites me more than a guy like Michael Mayer. But at the same time, even though I would prefer Washington, I would not be upset if the Packers went with Mayer because I do think he's going to be a productive player, blocking, catching. He can get it done. And also, too, when we look at Dalton Kincaid, he's 6'4", 246, ran a 4.71 40, so similar to Michael Mayer in that regard, but many people believe that Kincaid is a better receiver. So all 3 guys, I think, could make sense in this Green Bay offense. I really do hope, as I've mentioned in the past, the Packers do take a pass catcher, whether that's tight end or receiver, sometime in the first 2 rounds. I do think that Brian Gutekunst is going to try everything to make Jordan Love successful because his career may depend on it. There's a good chance that if in the next few seasons Jordan Love is terrible and the Packers are playing poorly, that eventually Brian Gutekunst could be gone. So I think that he's going to do everything he possibly can to make Jordan Love successful. So I'm honestly not worried about that. We'll see what he does. But the Packers now have met with 3 of these tight ends, which is interesting. Will they pick him at 15? Maybe. Will they wait till round 2? Potentially. Maybe a guy will fall to them. And maybe at some point in round 2, if the Packers aren't up yet, Brian Gutekunst has not been afraid whatsoever to trade up. Last year, trading our 2 seconds to move up to the top of the second round to go draft Christian Watson. So I am honestly just curious to see what's going to happen in the draft in 2 weeks. We can speculate all we want, but we'll know what the Packers decide, obviously, on draft day in the next couple weeks. Because I remember last draft day, the Packers drafting a middle linebacker like Quay Walker wasn't completely on my radar. So I wouldn't be surprised if I'm completely shocked draft night. We'll see what Brian Gutekunst does, and we will discuss it on this channel as always. And if you guys have not subscribed to my Packers newsletter, feel free to subscribe to the channel or the newsletter down below. I'm starting to put out more stuff there. Sometimes before the videos, I'm writing things there, sending them out first, so you can go sign up for that down below, put in your email. You'll get lots of the Packers news, all that kind of stuff right to your inbox. But that is all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching, as always, and I'll see you guys next time.